And here's the audience. Okay, we're not gonna be making noise, okay? We're not gonna do that, okay? I need as much silence as possible while I do this, please. And thank you. Can you see me? Like in there?
Yeah.
Like here?
Yeah.
Okay. Got my timer. This is probably a crutch, but whatever.
Just do it there.
Huh?
Just stop it.
We're all here to support you.
I appreciate your positivity. No, I appreciate your support. I appreciate your positivity. You ready?
You suck. Gotta be supporting positivity.
Y'all cannot do that. Seriously, who take points off for ambient noise?
I don't know.
And go.
Spell ambient.
AMBIENT. Don't play with me.
You like that definition?
Shut up.
You're wasting film. Come on now.
Okay. Participation in extracurricular activities while in high school looks good when a student is applying for college or even a job. But participation in extracurricular activities does not provide a solid academic foundation. In most schools across America, a 2.0 grade point average is the requirement for a student to participate in any extracurricular activities. Unfortunately, that GPA is not, or that standard does not motivate students to go above and beyond what's the expectations that are set for them. Most students do just enough to make a C average, and then they'll say, okay, well, now I want to go play basketball, or I want to be in the band. And because they've done just enough to maintain whatever that average is, which is a 2.0, they're able to participate, but their academics suffer as a result of it. Then you have students who want to play basketball or who are known to be in the drama club, and their teachers, because the GPA requirement is only a 2.0, they'll make concessions for them and say, okay, well, let me give you this grade, or I'll give you these extra points so that you can stay in whatever club you're in, not taking into consideration the fact that by them not having a higher expectation of their students and requiring them to at least try more, that they just settle for this grade, and it's just like, okay, as long as I get my C, I can go out here and I can run the field. You have to take into consideration students who don't do all that great in the classroom. You might have somebody who is relying on only being able to get a 2.0 so that they can get a basketball scholarship or a band scholarship or a cheerleading scholarship or whatever scholarship that they're trying to achieve. At the same time, even in competing for athletic scholarships, you might have achieved the 2.0 GPA in high school in order to play, but when it comes to competing for that scholarship to go to college, you have so many other people who are competing for the same scholarship, and they have higher grades and better test scores. I would like to challenge the Department of Education and the Indianapolis High School Sports Association to consider raising the minimum GPA from a 2.0 to a 2.5. A 2.0 is only a C average, which is 1 point up from a D average, and of course a D average won't let you play, but you can get a D in any marking period, and maybe you'll have enough C's and maybe a B in there, and it'll average out to a 2.0, and that way you're still able to participate in whatever activity you want to participate in. If I brought a D home, I don't care if I had straight A's on my report card. Anything that I did aside from academics, which came first, those privileges were taken away from me, and then I wasn't allowed any other privileges until I brought my grades up. Students know when they're doing just enough to be able to do whatever extra activity they want to do in addition to their academics. Academics, though, should come first. If you're a student athlete, so you're a student first. Your studies, going to class, making sure that you have your test scores, making sure that your homework is turned in, if you have to tutor or whatever it is that you have to do, that's the most important thing. I spoke to a student by the name of Trevor, and I cannot remember his last name, but I talked to him about a week ago. I think it was July 22nd, and he was saying that, you know, he plays football for his school. He attends an IPS high school, and he was saying that athletes, especially, you know, the football players that he's around, they know when they're doing, you know, just enough in order to make the grade that they need to make so that they can stay on the field. And he said that, you know, if the GPA was raised, he could make the grades if he wanted to, but nobody is saying this is what you need to do. Nobody is setting a higher standard, so he doesn't feel motivated to try and make a higher grade. Most students, I mean, that assessment is correct. A lot of students won't, they're not going to say, oh, I can make the grade. Some students are going to fight against it and feel like, oh, you know, I've been making C's all this time. I can continue to make C's. I just want to play ball. I just want to sing in the choir, whatever that is. And they would definitely protest. They would probably try and rebel against, you know, the standard if it was set to be higher for them, because they feel like for all these years it's been just a 2.0 that I need to achieve, so why should you raise it? They're not thinking in terms of, you know, this is something to motivate me to exceed whatever standard my teachers or even my parents may have set for me, because they've gotten into this rhythm and they're conditioned to just be average students. They're not thinking, okay, let me go ahead and go out here, or let me go ahead and go to my classes and make good grades and think about my future, because even if I excel in the band, I might not be the one to be awarded that scholarship. So when you're talking about competing for scholarships, the grades that you make in your class, and when recruiters come to your schools and they're looking at students and they're saying, okay, I need a list of the top 10 or the top 10% students in your class, that automatically X's out anybody who has a 2.0. And as for those students who don't necessarily perform that well in the classroom, but they have all these extra skills, setting a higher standard would motivate them to push a little further in their academics, because they know, you know, I might not be as smart as Susie over here, but I still have to make this grade if I'm going to be able to participate in this, and this is going to be my way out. So it raises the standard. We ultimately fail our kids when we say, okay, we'll settle for this because this is what I think you can do. And if you're telling them this is all that I can believe you can do, this is all that I think you can do, so we'll lower it and make it easy for you, then that gives them no incentive whatsoever to try and do any better. Dr. White cut 3 football programs in IPS. And in a report published by WRTV6 in November of 2009, he was quoted as saying that he cut the programs because they were not performing on the level that he wanted them to perform. And he wants IPS schools to be able to compete with what he considers power schools or big schools like Ben Davis or Warren Central. But in addition to them being so competitive teams in athletics and their band, and they have all these programs, their students are not aiming just for the 2.0 because this is what you've given them and said this is what I need you to make. They're aiming to exceed those expectations. In a student editorial published by the Kalamazoo Gazette in May of 2009, a senior by the name of Cameron Ryan said that she felt that students would just take easier classes. They would cut back on their rigor so that they can make sure that they are taking classes that are what they consider to be easy enough, not challenging them academically, so that they can make whatever the GPA might be raised to, if in fact it was raised. Her assessment could be true. A lot of students would say, you know, okay, well, I can't take honors English now because I can't just get a C and still do what I want to do. But that doesn't negate the fact that the standard should still be raised all the way there's a school called Battle Creek High School, and they in the Bluffton today, which is in South Carolina, in July, their athletic directors have been asked to step up academics and to basically to push their students to do better, because their athletic director was quoted as saying, you know, when recruiters come to their schools, they don't want to see your resume of sports and activities and drama club and all this stuff that you participated in. They want to see transcripts. They want to know what your grades look like. They want to know how you're testing. They want to know what kind of consistency you have academically. So they're not really, it looks good to have that stuff in addition to academics. Unfortunately, it seems like extracurricular activities have taken precedence over academics, and that's backwards. The first thing that we should be worried about is educating our students and making sure that they have a solid foundation, so that when they leave our classrooms and our halls in high school and they go on to college, or even if they go out into the work world, they're prepared for everything or anything that they're going to be facing once they get out there. Setting low standards and just saying, okay, we'll just meet this standard and we'll just pass you on and move you on, doesn't help them when they get out there, because meeting certain challenges, a part of living in the real world and growing up is being able to rise to challenges and then exceed people's expectation of you, as opposed to just being mundane and just doing the bare minimum because this is all that people expect of me, so let me give them this. The standard should be raised, I think, to a 2.5. That's not extreme. A 3.0 is a B average. I would say a B average, but you got to start somewhere. A 2.5 would be a high C, a low B, and just that little bit of elevation could be enough to motivate some student to say, okay, well, they want me to have this, or this is the standard that's set for me, but I know I can do better than this. And if I don't get to participate in an activity, it won't be because this particular standard was set so low and they said to me, oh, you know, you have to make this standard and I didn't make it. It'll be because I'm too focused on my studies. If you're going to cut out anything when it comes to extracurricular activities versus your academics, you should be cutting out your extracurricular activities because you're so focused on your academics. Of course, you have to have a balance. Of course, you want to be able to say, you know, I made A's and B's all the way through high school, but I also did this and it was fun, and I participated in this sport and it was fun, and I met these people and I was able to network here. But education is foremost, and a 2.0 is just not good enough. Thank you. On the side. The gray button on the side. Not that one. On the back.